Okay, we are back, and I'm sorry, I cut Seth Green off in mid-sentence. We're here with Matt Weitzman, who is one of the writers of this episode. That's Matt doing that bubble noise.
Yes.
Pass that shit, dude. Pass it.
Steve Callaghan, another one of our phenomenal writers, and of course, Mr. Seth Green.
F and cry.
Laugh and cry. Laugh and cry, damn you.
Every episode, you're gonna comment on laugh.
I know. Oh, this is kind of a cool beginning.
Oh, yeah. Actually, because I can translate, kind of.
You can.
Well, because we don't really tell people what they're actually saying, so they don't really know the joke unless they can speak Spanish here.
Oh, really? But, because the subtitles are in Korean.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, this was one of the cooler openings.
Yeah.
Just on.
Like, they, oh my gosh, we're going to die. And then this guy says, hey, do you remember if I closed the garage door this morning?
That was our supervising director, Peter Shin, who did the Korean translation for us.
And are they accurate?
I believe they are, yeah.
That's great. I know how to say 3 things in Korean.
Really?
I can say hello, thank you, and no problem.
Wow.
Yeah, I learned that in Korea.
Say it.
Oh, I can, hello is 안녕하세요. And my pronunciation is probably awful. Thank you is 감사합니다. And no problem is 문제 없습니다. Yeah.
I love how that frog just loved his butt getting licked right there.
Doesn't everyone?
If you look back.
It's like he kind of has braces, but he kind of has polka dot teeth.
Yeah.
He's got the Invisalign
It's
braces.
a Sports Night reference.
I know. It's
Oh, yeah.
not dated at all. I just had a baby and my wife
Even
was
if your opinion
so
is wrong.
offended by that twin stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Forget it.
Now this is an actual thing, right, Matt?
Yes, this is a real thing that people do get high off of.
In Australia.
I think Australia and, in other places, but it's...
And right here in Los Angeles.
That's right.
And right here in this booth.
Need it.
Doing Kermit.
Yeah. I'm just proud of
Oops,
that
sorry.
one.
Oh.
That was good stuff right there.
Yeah. Oh, you know what's coming up is our live action.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Which in the head you still have...
I actually gave to the Planet Family Guy website, Joe.
Really?
Who runs a website.
Now, who was the actor inside that
That
suit?
was, I believe, oh God, you know what? This is
Emmanuel
horrible.
Lewis?
I can't remember. Yeah, it was Emmanuel.
See, I'm going to be critical right here. They didn't do that bit quite like it was intended. The
What?
whole, you're walking down the hallway, because you're supposed to move your hands more.
Yeah. It was not.
But,
this
you know.
episode had some. If you notice, there was some visual problems. The characters don't always look like the characters.
Yeah, holy crap.
But-
See Bart Simpson there? No. I would have loved if Mila was in here right now for that one.
Mm-hmm.
Those kids are like 30.
I know.
For a second, I was like, who the hell is that? Is somebody else in the room with us? No, that was Seth Green.
With a little bit of sandwich
Yeah.
in his mouth.
Yeah, it was delicious too.
Oh, there's my buddy Mr. Burler
There
again.
he is
Yep,
again.
yep.
Now, does it look like Mr. Bird?
No, it doesn't look at all like...
Okay. Just shares the name.
Yeah.
The teacher telling Meg to run along and play alone somewhere.
Oh, now remember standards here? They would not... They made us give him pants.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah.
wanted to do this bit without Suter wearing pants, and they wouldn't let us.
We probably should be respectful of the Supreme Court since they're electing the president now.
Exactly.
That's true.
Yeah, that would have been a little bit funnier with no pants.
That is impressive, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's such a mom thing to say.
Scared of asking someone who's unpopular.
Yeah.
I like how his hair got better after he hit her.
Yeah. Yeah.
So funny. I write such good stuff. Yeah, that was
Oh,
a
this
good
is
one.
that infamous scene.
Oh, yeah.
This is another example of a scene where like the dialogue is pretty much straight, but it's what's going on in the scene
Right.
that I sort of. This is like just par for the course for them. Usual ritual.
Well, we all couldn't believe we were actually doing this while we were writing it.
A rare glimpse into their sex life.
It's almost routine to them.
Yeah. All right, well, start hurting me. That's a bit of a thinker.
He looks a little thinner there.
He waits till he gets home.
I feel like that's one of the jokes that's a little like a room joke. I don't know how many people at home might have appreciated that.
Oh,
so
they
much.
all loved it, didn't you?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'm sure you've mentioned
Seth
this.
Green
but-
doing Neil Goldman.
Oh, right. And I'm sure you've mentioned that Neil Goldman is actually named after one of our writers.
Yes.
Neil Goldman.
Right.
Neil is far more attractive than that Neil, though.
Far more? Okay.
Well, he doesn't have his pants hiked up quite as high.
Nor is he pushing around the AV cart.
He was.
This is Peter's idea of how kids dress these days. Tinted glasses, coiffed hair, and a red vest.
Now, was this the first episode that we did the musical number in?
No, there was the one at the mansion.
Oh, right.
Right. Actually, speaking of Neil Goldman, I have to say, kind of non sequitur, that when I used to be an actor. This is Matt, the writer. I used to be an actor, and when somebody asked me how would I know I would be a success, and I said one day I'll have an animated version of myself on TV.
Oh, and that happened.
And that actually happened thanks to this show. And on the smoking episode, there's
Yes.
You can all check out
I say Barker and Weitzman.
yeah, versions of us.
Peter's writers, in fact.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
Peter's writers. Exactly.
Those two businessmen, which we mentioned earlier in the pilot, the idea these two 50s businessmen characters seem to pop up in various places. just horrible.
That's hot.
Actually voiced by Fred Tatasciore.
Right, Tatasciore, who's a
Yeah.
buddy of yours.
Is a buddy of mine from school.
Thompson twins.
I love. He just put it under his arm as if it's deodorant.
Who's that?
That's Firuza Balk.
Is it?
Yep.
Oh, wow.
All through your body.
No, Steve, you just didn't know any better. There's some real rough looking areas of animation in the song. There's one where Peter's head shrinks, like
Right.
during the scene. By the end of the scene, it's like half the size it was at the beginning.
I like his belly is showing right there.
The backup singers that Ron Jones added sound really good. Oh, this is the scene. Watch his head. Watch his whole body. Jesus. Look at he's shrinking.
He is shrinking.
What the hell is that?
That's the toad talking.
It being your penis.
Oh. No idea.
Yeah, that toad really didn't deserve a proper burial.
No. Very 60s musical number gag coming up where we just cut to Brian for no reason.
Yeah.
Family Guy, I'll be right back.
If only people were as easily persuaded by musical numbers in the real
Can you
world.
imagine that?
I know.
Just like
Sing a few bars.
Al Gore on the campaign trail, breaking into song.
All right, we'll vote for you.
And I hope it's making steakums tonight.
Nice.
It's funny how we all sort of have our own Peter voice that we
Oh,
would do when we're pitching jokes.
Hello.
None of them even.
Thanks, Geritol.
Oh, well, Seth always had the advantage because any joke he pitched was 15% funnier because it was actually in the
Steve,
voice.
that's just not true.
No, you're
I
brilliant.
I failed as much as anybody.
Oh, no. Very, very talented. Oh, and a good singer I meant to mention during that song.
Oh, well.
No, you kiss ass, Steve.
I know.
I thought you sucked, dude.
Thank you, Seth. For once,
Anytime,
some
brother.
honesty. Get out.
All right.
See, this is the only. I mean, this is a good episode, but Stewie is so very light in it.
He is. By light, he means there isn't a lot of Stewie.
Thanks for that translation. That very technical term.
Are we going to put a legend at the end of the DVD? So people can see what all these terms mean?
Oh, that's a
That
good
would be
idea.
good,
What
yeah.
a legend.
Wacky stack.
A glossary.
Right.
Hang a
We
lantern
have to
up.
define legend then as well.
Haven't you guys ever looked at a map?
Not
Did that sound incredibly
not
arrogant?
incomprehensible. I've looked at one. I've never comprehended one.
I love Brian.
Peter becomes
That's
very
what-
teenagerish.
13-year-old.
That's the second time he's done that in the series. Just screamed at Lois, knocked the food off his plate, and then demanded that she clean it up.
Neil has very bizarre teeth.
He does.
He's got those two buck teeth, and then when he speaks, a whole row appears. It's very, very odd.
Oh, let's see you do it, Steve.
No, I mean, hey, I think the animators do a great job. I'm not being critical. I'm just
I think we mentioned that one before. That Neil, for some reason, Neil's retainer is like it's just a single line going across his face.
Yeah.
You know, Neil's got enough trouble with that. You guys.
I
don't
know. Poor guy.
I changed the color of this shirt, Seth, by the way.
What?
Debbie, the color person,
Yeah.
yeah, she wanted to make it like a red, and I made it brown. So I just want to let you know now.
You saved the whole picture.
picture.
No, I think that actually is a much better choice.
This was a gag that we figured we'd do an Oliver Twist gag. We didn't really know where we were going with it. So when in doubt, show a dress on a man.
And how Stewie pull out a gun.
Yeah, it's interesting. Standards was always only okay with Stewie's violence with weapons.
With laser weapons?
With laser weapons.
Right.
Which is interesting because now they're developing these energy weapons that, you know, they're stun weapons, but
Really?
it's interesting if
You know, it won't be long till we're beaming satellite signals off of giant things in the sky and able to talk to each other on communicator devices.
yeah.
It's crazy, these new
Like phones?
things.
Like phones, yeah.
Could be similar to a cell phone. Yeah.
And as I recall, that means Peter's 42, Lois is 40.
Oh, who is this? Gregg Allman.
Gregg Allman.
Right.
It's actually Gregg Allman. Inexplicably. Whose
Comes
room
to
is
life.
this? Is this Peter's room?
This is their room. This is their bedroom. And this is the
in the style of.
right in the style of. Thank you.
Yeah, we mentioned this in one of the earlier
Saxon
comments.
Brown.
She's got to be somebody's baby.
Now this is a very non sequitur. This is Barker's.
Everybody
line.
gets one Spider-Man rescue. Lois just completely oblivious. It's interesting because Lois had this very vacuous side to her, and at the same time, she
Moral
Very-
barometer
very-
for
yeah.
the family.
very wide moral barometer.
Now, Carter's hair looks like it's a different color than
It
in other
is because
episodes.
he's younger.
Oh,
We
right.
had so much trouble, like because we had these two hair colors. We had two models of
Oh, but that makes sense if it's a flashback.
yeah.
Speaking of hair color, I seem to remember a long time ago,
Yeah,
Lois had blonde
Yeah,
hair.
we talked about that earlier too.
Oh.
So Lois, boy, you're covering.
I know, I'm just repeat
Peter
Charlie.
eating those chips. Just
I never noticed that.
fucking slobs.
Oh, man.
Fucking fat
But there's
slob.
still a lot of them in,
Yeah.
in the bowl. I
Like
have to
they're
say.
they're clearly speaking to him, and he's just shoveling them, just not paying any attention. That was one of those things that it was just one of those happy little timing things that weren't planned. I love this sequence. It's his. Peter's predictions of what she's gonna say.
That's my favorite part right
the
there.
shortest tape in history.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that
Henry?
Mike? Yeah.
Don't do it, Peter.
Wow.
Don't do it, you
Oh.
fucking asshole.
He's having a moment of conscience.
Whoa.
Good.
Meg is sporting a little bare shoulder there.
She is.
Yeah, she's looking hot in that.
Meg?
Yeah, Meg.
Well, as hot as Meg can look.
No, no. Hot.
Okay.
I think initially it was you got a freaking Polak working the spotlight, and we We thought better of that.
I think monkey's funnier.
It was 3 in the morning, and
Monkeys.
It
throw
was
their
often
poo.
3 in the morning.
yeah. We weren't being very politically correct, but we fixed it.
But it was a labor of love.
Yeah.
There's Seth Green again,
Yep.
who got pissed off for some reason.
Oh, this is great. That's us not wanting to wrap up that aspect of the story and having no reason to.
Well, the Quahog police are pretty inept.
Yeah.
Well, I think the original joke was
We got this too.
Oh,
Yeah, we
the
had-
Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Right. I
This,
think the original joke that was I give her 6 months until she's pregnant or something.
Yeah. It looked like the flag was at half staff in that establishing shot of the school.
because of Lando.
Because of Lando, that's what I thought.
See you, Callaghan.
Hey, how about that?
That's you.
I know.
Well, listen, this
Okay.
is an
For
this has
anyone
sure
who's
been
still
fun.
tuned into
Nice.
this.
Yeah.
It actually says Miguel Gorilla Lopez.
That guy was so cool.
He
did
was very cool.
Like the first week that I was there, he did a caricature of me, like
Yeah.
in the style of Family Guy.
Very nice guy.
Jerk.